They say history has a habit of repeating itself, and it certainly does that. But also things come back into fashion that weren't. Back in the day, when I used to be on my way home from a nightclub in the morning, back in 1993, you would see a milkman going down the road on an electric milk float, which was probably best part of 30 years old then. And he was delivering milk bottles, full of milk, obviously. But as time went on, they decided that this was a bad thing. So they then got plastic bottles because they're recyclable, right? Well, it's funny because they're now advertising locally, and you'll probably hear it on your local radio, this new great idea that's eco-friendly. And what they've got is milk bottles instead of plastic ones, which are recyclable. You can use them over and over again, endlessly. Unlike the plastic bottles, which I believe you could recycle up to about 6 times, and that was it. They were knackered then. You couldn't recycle plastic anymore, that's what I'm told. And it's delivered, guess what? On an electric vehicle. And they're selling this as a new idea. I think it's fucking amazing. Basically, we used to work out just how late we were getting home by the milkman. Yeah, you'd come home, the milkman would be going past, or I'd drive home because I've been out all night with cruising around, which is another thing we'll get onto. But you've been out all night cruising around, and you come down the road and you cut the engine, wouldn't you, early, thinking I'll sneak in, and nope, it's daylight, it's the middle of summer, and your dad's already out on the drive loading the car because he's working that day. And you're like, hi, there's a milkman, there's dad. Oh. Anyway, time moves on. I go to bed early these days because, well, I say I go to bed early. I go to bed early on my days off, but no, I work from midday to midnight. So no, I don't go to bed early, but if I was off, you get the idea. So when I was a kid, my first car on the road legally was a 2-litre Capri. It was not cheap to insure, but this is the irony of things and getting older, right? And I have a point to this, so I'll get round in a minute. I bought my first Capri, which was a bit of a bag of shit, for 75 quid, and did it up, got it through the MOT, got it taxed, and my parents insured it for me for my 18th. It was, I think it was £1,000 then. The next year was a 1,200 quid to insure it, fully comp. No, it wasn't even that, it was third party, you want it. Anyway, never mind. I've just gone because I'm going to get another one. I've been wanting one of these cars for about 25 years now, right? So I'm going to get one, which means I've got to work hard and save up. I've just been for the insurance. £89 for the year, fully comp. God, do I feel old. Oh my God. But the point to this is, things come back round in a weird way. All of this shit they're pushing at the moment, like electric vehicles and stuff, will go out of vogue. Everything that they're saying is a really good idea now, and that the things that we're doing historically or have been doing are all shit. Will come back. They'll end up in 10 years time or more saying that all of these batteries are actually bad for the environment, that all these spinny, randy, windy, turbine-y things are fucking awful for the environment because their carbon footprint making them, they never recuperated it, and worse still, you can't recycle the blades, so they've got to be buried underground. Fancy that. But all of these net zero policies that they're pushing now, all of a sudden, in about 10, 15 years, they'll flip. And they'll go, no, it's all got to change because that was bad. The science has changed. And everybody will fall for it. But it's amazing how your nan, how she used to keep her jars and keep boxes that stuff came in and just keep everything that you could. And you'd reuse it. And there used to be a saying back during the war, make to amend, and it was a good idea. But globalism got hold of us and said, no, you need to buy new. You should spoil yourself, treat yourself, and all that kind of stuff. And then we ended up with keeping up with the Joneses. Oh my God, I've just looked over there and realised the bloke that's taking stuff off that truck fucked the entire load. Not my load, well, not my load, fortunately, but unlucky for him. Anyway, back to the story. Yeah, so we're listening to Klaus Schwab and all that. You'll have nothing, you'll be happy. And we're listening to the rest of the globalists, and fuel's going through the roof at the moment because it's bad, yeah? So OPEC have decided that they're now going to fight against communist, no, it's not communist, Simon, fuck me, go back a bit further. Fighting against Russia. And they said that they're going to try and up the barrelage, which reduces the price at the pump for you and me. It's always been a finely balanced thing because a lot of what you see at the pump is VAT added by our government. Once it's come through and been refined and whatever, the price at the pump isn't actually what it costs to get it to the country. I know there's a lot involved in, obviously they've got to refine it once it's here because they bring it in as crude, and then after they've refined it, they've got to get it to the pumps. Right, I get all that, right? But if you were to look at, say for instance, a fuel tanker, and you look at it from the side, if you take a quarter at the front or less, that's how much it actually costs to get. The rest is VAT put on top of it. Now, the price of what it costs us to buy it in does actually fluctuate by how much they up the barrelage production or reduce the barrelage production, because if anything's in short supply, the price goes up. And this is what they do, they manipulate the price. And then we got our lot over in manipulating the price. But because we've had a little falling out with Rusky, what we're going to do is try and do our best, apparently, to up the barrelage to help the people who otherwise are struggling to get fuel, maybe because of this conflict. I don't fucking know. However, this is all still in the talking at the moment, and I don't know if it's actually gone through yet. I've seen stuff in the paper or whatever. Not the paper, online. Fucking hell. Don't I sound old? You say stuff naturally, and then you realise, no, Si, they just don't really bother with papers anymore, or whatever. You get it. I know I'm old because I want to buy a Ford fucking Capri. And sad, a lot of people would say, well, why do you want to buy one of those? Well, why do you think I got the reputation or the name Reverend Simon Sideways? Because if you own a Ford Capri, you go everywhere sideways, which was quite good training. I mean, if you look at Vicky Butler Henderson, she got older one and she went round a track with it sideways. She said this is the ideal car for a person who's learned to drive, or learning, pass a test that is, to drive in.
Absolutely adore it. I love the fact that it's just an uncomplicated piece of machinery. There's no fancy trickery here. Just turn the wheel, give it some welly, and the back end steps gracefully and gradually out. It's the perfect vehicle in which to learn about car control. And if I was 17 and had just passed my driving test, then this is the car I would want to hone my skills in.
And that's exactly what I did, Vicky. Mind you, it wasn't cheap. I treated that thing like shit. I ragged the living fuck out of it. And in so doing, it cost me a lot more than probably a good car would have done. Not just that, I learnt to change the leaf springs, the prop shafts, the rear brakes, the exhaust, the gearbox, numerous gearboxes, the linkages for the gearbox, numerous engines. Me and my friends could have an engine out and back in 3 hours, or less, at the side of the road with no crane or nothing like that. Radiators, alternators, start motors, lower arms, steering racks. You get the idea. But it was a good way of learning mechanics, and since then I've ended up being fairly self-sufficient unless it's something that's computer shit. And then I've bought a £10, incidentally, if you end up getting lots of codes coming in on your car, you can buy a little thing that plugs in and you get an app on your phone and it actually tells you what's wrong. And sometimes a car can have a little, I don't know, a little moment, and it'll throw up a light on the dash and you can just clear it off and off you go. Not always the case, by the way. And I'm no mechanic, so don't take my word for it, but it works with the Transit, let's tell you that. Anyway, look, I thought I'd just do a video about something a bit different, because, I don't know about you, politics is really getting me down, so I'm having a break. So I've been listening to the 80s, and generally looking after me. It's been quite nice. So, but yeah, you can't keep doing this and nothing else. I don't smoke, don't do drugs. And at the moment, I don't even drink. I don't do holidays. All I do is work and come home. So you've got to have something to look forward to in life. And you can't be all about doom and gloom 24/7 all year, every year, for the rest of your days. It's not healthy. So this is why I'm having a bit of a break. But I thought I'd just talk about this because it's something that interests me and it might interest you. Also, some of you are old enough to have the nostalgia of actually remembering fixing your own cars, or what it cost to insure your first car, or how much it can cost to insure a car now in comparison. So yeah, just thought I'd talk about it, something a bit different. Anyway, I'll go back to work now. See you in a bit.